Well, guess what? We go again. Big up, Carl. Big up, Carl. Look, guys, can you hear Carl now?
Can you hear us? Yeah.
Can you hear him now? We'll fix up that problem. I do apologise. That's completely my fault. Well, I thought it worked. It seemed like it worked for us. We had a good show.
We did. We had a great chat, didn't we?
We had a great chinwag. It was working completely for us. But you guys couldn't hear Carl. So, guys, big up everyone. Look, we are gonna talk about we've got Roma coming up. We've got a Vicario injury that we need to talk about. And we also want to talk about, is Spurs YouTube toxic? That's a real good thing, because you put a video out this morning. Very good, respectful. What I want to say, guys, before anyone in the chat, before I've got a load of moderators in here now, a load of people that I respect, trust, I know behind the scenes. I don't want anyone in here slagging anybody else off. This isn't a free-for-all. I'm not going to bow down to what other people are like in this community. I do not accept and tolerate abuse to anybody, whether I approve their opinion, I like their opinion, don't like their opinion. None of that. We don't do that in this channel, and we never will do. And I don't care if you've been here since day one and you're my first subscriber. I will not tolerate it. That's point one. And the second point, this also doesn't give you an excuse to go onto other people's channels and abuse them. And if I see that, and you've come from my channel to use that as an excuse to abuse other people, not tolerated. I don't want it to be like that. And that's how, Sheriff is right. The messages will be removed, and I'm not going to tolerate that stuff. I want to lay the ground rules when we have this conversation. We'll have this conversation. And I think that's really, really important, Carl.
Yeah, massively, mate. Like as you say, I think as creators, we still have a duty of care to make sure that, you know, we're not promoting hate. We're not sending our viewers over to other channels to kind of give them stick. And like I say, that is a duty of care, that we shouldn't be knocking content out there that does that. And as we know, there are certain channels that push it. And it's just not on, really. It's not the way we want the community to be, is it?
We talk about a community. I hear this, the words, I hear this. We're a community from a lot of people and stuff. But then that also then equally doesn't allow us, whether we've got opinions that we like, don't like, whatever. Do you know what I came into this for, right? I came into this is, Carl, you come and say to me, Perch, I watched your video about insert player, didn't like that. Come onto my show, or I'll come onto yours and let's talk about it. That's what I thought this was all about, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of creators I don't agree with all their opinions on, but I'm respectful with them. We have chats behind the scenes. Yeah. We have chinwags, and I think that is, I think that for me is where it's at, right? And I think that's a key bit for me. I think we hear so much of the term echo chamber, but this shouldn't be echo chambers, right? I left a comment on your video and I said, we hear a lot about echo chambers, but isn't an echo chamber when all we do is we talk about hardly, like, it's not how it should be, right? And I think that's the key bit. And guys, in the chat, like, guys, come on, man. Like, guys, be nice to each other. Like, look, I think Sheriff is in there and he's just relaying the ground rules. And I think that's the key bit. No one's abusive. Everyone's having a good time. Guys, come on. We're having football. What I do want to talk about that video, Carl, I'm not going to mention names. There's no point. We know who it's about. We don't need to start promoting that thing, that whole thing. We see a lot of stuff, and the attitudes I'm seeing a lot of at the moment is it's becoming acceptable to just slander anyone. And it doesn't matter who the individual is. It's becoming acceptable to just be like, do you know what? I don't like their opinion, so I'm just going to berate them and do streams about them all day. What's that about?
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it, Perchy? Because, like I say, the one thing that I love about football is we all have different opinions on every subject that we talk about. Players, manager, the club. And ultimately, as I said in my video, I subscribe to almost every Spurs YouTube channel because, you know what? I want to hear those views. I want to hear those opinions. From every stream I watch, there'll be bits that I go, yeah, I agree with that. I think he's right with what he's saying there on ex-player or manager. But there'll be parts that I go, I don't necessarily agree with him. But that's what I want. That's the whole point of YouTube, isn't it? Is that you can hear different opinions, see different opinions, and ultimately you should be able to come together. And like, as you say, if me and you had a disagreement over a player, Why can't we get together like this and just discuss it? I might give you his pros, you might give me the cons, and we can just go, oh, well, I'm not sure I agree with your con for X reason. You'll
Yeah.
to me, and we just go, do you know what? That was a great debate. Brilliant. But as you say, nowadays, it's become very much a society where it's like, if you don't agree with my opinion, you're out of order, you're wrong. I'm going to slate you and mock you for your opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just something we need to stop. The
It-
whole
it-
Spurs community should be able to go on each other's channels
Of
and have
course.
honest debates, but it's not like that, is it? We know.
And listen, there's debates that get heated. Look, we've all been there, right? We've all
Yeah.
been in debates where they've got heated. But after the show, when the stream ends, you go, God, that got heated in there, and
Yeah.
you walk out as mates. Like there's times when Sava and Sean, I'll use those two as examples because I used to do a lot of stuff with those back in the time. Used to have heated debates after the show. Go, God, that got heated. God, like, but what a show that was. Like,
Yeah.
we were both passionate about it, and we move on. The problem what happens is people don't see behind the curtain sometimes. And unfortunately what happens is a lot of viewers think, oh, well, those two hate each other. No, they don't. It's just a debate, right? It's just a debate, right? And that's the whole point about it. We all live for the debate. I thought that's what it's about. I think, because the one comment I do hear a lot of from a lot of people, well, oh, you're not the manager, why should you talk? That's not how it's worked. If that was the case, none of us can talk about anything that doesn't involve us. And I mean that when it comes to politics, when it comes to football, it comes to anything. Like, well, but you're not a politician, so you can't talk about what's going on in the country. And we're not going to go into politics because that's a whole can of worms I do never want to go into. But it's a microcosm of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You can't talk about that.
Actually, if we all thought the same thing and all had the same opinion, we'd just need one YouTube channel.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
One channel pumping all the Spurs stuff out there, but that's not entertaining. It's not fun. It's not how real life is. We've all got our opinions, and it is about, just because you might think someone's a bad player and I don't. I think the other thing as well is people all immediately assume that you're a horrible person just because you don't agree with me.
Yeah.
And a lot of what these people don't see is that behind the scenes, there's a lot of the Tottenham community, the YouTube community, that are helping one another, reaching out. You've helped me with some of my stuff starting up. Sava helps a lot of people in the Tottenham community, and they don't see that. But the sort of abuse that gets spouted, it's just wrong on all levels. And even a football opinion makes someone type some of the stuff they do in the comments, then I'm afraid it's just deranged.
It is. It's not normal and it's not fair. And no, I hope look, in a way, I kind of hope this gets viewed in a way, just because actually, do you know what? Like, I'm here to come in peace, so to speak. This isn't was that a Buzz Lightyear quote? I feel like was that a Buzz Lightyear quote? But in theory, the point is that this isn't an attack on anyone. Like, look, I'll give a great example. Me and Jacob probably disagree on the majority of football opinions, but me and Jacob talk behind the scenes, and I get on with Jacob all the time. We disagree on a lot of things, and if he's watching, he'll probably agree with her. We disagree on Romero, X, Y, Z, but we have a civilized conversation behind the scenes. Right? And by the way, that could go with a lot of YouTubers.
Yeah.
By the way, we chat behind the scenes, we have a conversation about it. So, I just think what's happening now is we're now at a position where we're allowing that to happen. What the second part I wanted to sort of just talk about, and we'll leave this bit for a second, was as a community and as a YouTuber, you have a responsibility to not allow your viewership to be angry, negative, nasty to other people. As I said, that's why I made that point at the beginning of the show. Anyone that comes into my chat and is abusive, I don't care if you've been a member of this channel, you've been here since day one, I won't accept it, and it can't be accepted. I don't want my name being put against on another YouTuber, and then they're going, well, you've just sent me over 100 people over to abuse me. Hang on, no, that would never happen on this channel. And if that ever happens, I want that minute bit to clip up and it will get posted to anyone, because I would never let anyone abuse anyone on my channel going from back and forward and stuff like that. Unacceptable, not going to happen for me. But I think that's just where we are now. We need to just get back to it. I don't mind people, by the way. Like this has all come down to Ange, right? our opinions on Ange Postecoglou. That's where it's all from. That's where it's all stemmed from, right? For me, do I think Ange is the best manager in the world? No. Do I think he is the best manager at for us at this football club? I don't know yet. Is there a better manager than Ange in the world? Yes. That's not an objective opinion on something that Ange isn't the greatest manager in the world. Do I think Spurs are going to get the greatest manager in the world? No.
Yeah.
But also equally, when Ange does something right, I'll put my hand up and go, do you know what?
Yeah.
Spot on. Man City. Man City's a good example. Yeah. Man City's a great example.
Yeah.
My compliments to the manager. I thought he got his subs bang on. I thought he got his team selection bang on. And I thought he went, do you know what? I went credit where credit's due. Fair play.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, Perch, as well, when you watch the other channels, and this is the thing, isn't it? A lot of people are, all those channels, they're Ange out. They're not listening. Because when you watch the other channels, say Tottenham Away or Savage channel, just a couple of channels out there that we know, when you actually watch and listen, all they're asking for is, they're not saying they're desperately for Ange out or they don't rate him. They're asking for some consistency and a manager that adapts. And what they're not hearing is that if Ange did adapt and we suddenly started becoming this real consistent team that could go on runs of 7 to 8 games unbeaten, don't have to win them all, but 7, 8 games unbeaten, then maybe lose one, then go 7, 8 games again unbeaten. Those fans will sit there and say, that's what I want from manager. I want to see him adapt. I want to see consistency. And if we see that, they'll get behind Ange and they'll back him. What they don't want to see is this flip-flop, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But
that's the one thing where there is a portion of creators in this whole thing that will, and there'll be people in chat, Sam's in the chat as well, he'll agree with that most of us don't want to go, oh, well, he's great today, bad tomorrow. Great today, bad tomorrow. That's not how it works, right? Yeah. That's not how it works. Because for me, I've always stood, I'm not going to sit there and go Ange out, Ange in. For me, the manager will do that himself. He will show that he should be at the job because he'll win a load of games and keep winning, or he'll lose a load of games and he'll get himself sacked. For me, I think when we say Ange in, Ange out, all that is it's going, which camp am I in?
Yeah,
and it's segregation. It's like going, I support Labour, I support the Conservatives, if we use the politics example. That's what it comes down to. I'm not a box keeper. There are things that I think Ange can do really well at this club and I like about him. There are a lot of things I don't like about him, but there's also things that I go, do you know what? If he does this and this, this and this, it will work. Yeah. And I think it can be like that. And Sam made it. I just want to bring up this one. Sam made a point about serious question. What if someone committed suicide because of all the abuse they got? I think that for me is a point. And I think that is a good point, great point. We've got to think about that stuff. And that is why this channel is going to get redirected over to The Perfect Match with Kate and Jim, who are doing a mental health stream right now. So I don't want to try and eat into their time. I don't want to eat into their time because you know what, they're doing a really good job. And I've asked Ben has sent me the link to their channel. So I will redirect to those guys after this. So please go over there and share support to them lot because they're making really important awareness. And it culminates in this whole thing, right? We don't know what the other person's thinking. Look, I'm one of those. I can take words. You know me. I went through a lot of stuff at the beginning of the year. Yeah. We're not talking about that. And I needed support. Got some support from you guys. Was really helpful. And just letting things go. For me, this should be a release for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah. We were crap today. Let me vent and let it out, and then I can move on with my life.
Yeah. Perfect.
We were amazing today. Let's celebrate as a team. But instead, what happens is on both sides. And by the way, this is not me directed at one individual here. This goes collectively.
It goes wide, yeah. It goes wide.
It goes collectively because it's not just one individual. One individual is what it was talking about. Again, not mentioning them. Don't want. There's no point. I'm not that person. I'm not going to do that because it goes collectively. Because when it goes one way or the other, it equates, right? It equates anyway. So if Spurs win a game of football, all you hear from people that are really pro this manager will go, there you go. Proves you wrong. But the vice versa, if you lose a game, go, there you go. He's a crap manager. kind of in the middle, isn't it?
Well, I had that last week, Perchy. I did a video for Ange saying I thought these next 5 games will make or break for him, and predicted we'd get, on the end of a bad defeat at Man City. And the minute that game ended, I got a message from someone saying, you know absolutely nothing. Look at what you predicted. But I'd have to reply to say, but where was you after the Ipswich game when I predicted we'd thump them? You weren't messaging me at that point to try and say, you know nothing. What's your problem? It's a lot of point scoring going on. And like I say, people just need to kind of get in the real world.
I agree. What I find funny with that point, Carl, it's a really good point, because what I hear from a lot of people going, well, you predicted us to lose and we won. Okay, fine. There's a reason why everyone's talking about that result being one of Spurs' best results in the Premier League era, because no one expected us to win. This is how I don't get it. You can't on one breath go, that is Spurs' best performance in the Premier League era, especially under this manager, and then go, but you predicted us to lose. Which is it? You're wrong for predicting us to lose. Like, if it's our greatest ever result, and I'll dubious on that, our best ever away result, I'm dubious on that. I think there's some other really good ones when we played the Arsenal and all that lot. But by the by, let's just say this was, for argument's sake. How can them be having a go at someone predicting that we've lost a game of football when you're then telling people that that was the greatest away performance in the Premier League era? It doesn't marry up, right? It's like going, well, we're playing Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-finals, for example. Look, if we get through that, we've nicked it. And then we win 4-0 in a semi-final against them. And everyone goes, well, you're bad for predicting that Real Madrid would batter us. What are we doing here? Like, we're in it's mental for me.
Imagine the amount of actual pros and pundits who would have lost their job last weekend because of that result, because they predicted Spurs would get beat. We'd have no one on telly, would we?
But that's the thing, though. Like, right, YouTube is just a stem of punditry.
Yeah,
it's just fans talking like we used to back in the day when we used to go to the football. Before we did all of this nonsense, we'd be in the pub going, like that player. Their number 7 was quality. Where is he? Like, where have they got him from? Blah, blah, blah. Their goalkeeper was unbelievable today. God, we were crap at the back today. You'd have that conversation and move on from it, right?
Yeah.
Now I just think it's just become absolutely madness. And look, I don't want us to sort of go all on this thing, because I want to talk about the Roma game. I want to talk about Vicario, because I think it's really poignant to keep this about football. We'll have that. We've had 20 minutes or discussion about it. But for me, I think we want to keep it football, and that's how his channel will be. It'll be football or Football Manager. If you know, you better get to know. 3 o'clock, be there. It's a laugh, man. Everyone is loving the Football Manager streams, man. And also, guys, just on that, a little minor plug on my own. The Football Manager streams, obviously, I put in a post in the community page. If you do want to keep watching that stream with me, please can you go over and just vote, because obviously between the 18th and the 31st of December, I won't be at home. I'll be back in the UK. So I won't have my computer with me. So the voting is, do you want 1 hour pre-records that I will have to literally sit there and record 10 hours of viewership, and then I'll post them daily, so you've got daily content whilst I'm back in the UK, because I can't take my massive PC that's like this big with me, or we leave it and then we get back to it in the new year. That's for you guys in the chat. I'll leave it at that. Let's talk football, Carl, and obviously we'll plug your channel. Make sure one of the mods, make sure you get Carl's channel in there, and everyone get over there and subscribing. Carl, let's talk Vicario before Roma.
Yeah.
Massive result against Man City, and then 24 hours later, we get the news that our goalkeeper is out injured. What do you make of that? And is that the term that gets not really liked at the moment? Is that Spursy?
Yeah, we just can't have nice things, can we, Perchy? I think what did we get? 3 days of joy, and then we kind of get the stuffing knocked out of us with that news about Vicario. And obviously, what was really funny about that news was, I think a few weeks earlier, Vicario was kind of the villain, wasn't he? Getting a lot of criticism. A lot of Spurs fans weren't happy with him and thinking, listen, we might need to replace this guy. And then would you believe, a few weeks later, he's out for 4 months, possibly. And now all of a sudden we realise, yeah, but hang on a minute. We haven't actually got that decent a backup. And although this guy is not maybe the perfect goalkeeper, he is our best goalkeeper. And
Yeah.
this is an injury that will have an impact on the season, because we're now left with either bringing Austin or Foster in. You assume it's going to be Foster because of the experience. And as we've seen in the games that he's come in for, he hasn't set the world alight. Yes, he might be better in terms of set pieces with his size, because he is a big old unit. But then we've also seen where that affects him, and where Vicario's really good is on his shot stopping. And he can't get down as quick as Vicario does. And that is a worry. And again, like we saw at the weekend, if it wasn't for Vicario, that game could maybe have ended 4-4, possibly. And Man City would definitely have scored. He's a brilliant shot stopper. But yes, he's got stuff to work on. But it's an injury that kind of knocks the stuffing out of us a bit, and could have a reasonable size impact on the games going forward now.
Yeah, no, Carl, I agree with everything you've just said. Though I think you're really spot on. I think the problem for me is, and you saw what I put in the group chat when it happened, and I made the point immediately when everyone was going mad and losing their mind about Vicario getting injured, and I said, well, hang on a minute, we should have expected this. We prepared for this to happen, not the injury, but if an injury came along. And I think when everyone's going, we need to go and check if we can get a goalkeeper now in January. Shouldn't we have done that in the summer and not renewed his contract and gone, do you know what? We want to bring in this goalkeeper because the gap isn't like that. It's like that.
Yeah.
And I think for me at the moment, that is a key point. It's a key point that we really need to discuss, because I use the term in my video. I made a video about it, and I use the term, we are the most reactionary football club ever. And it comes with the fans, when it comes with our management style, when it comes with the way we are handled as a football club. Because most football clubs, Liverpool, I'll use Liverpool as a great example. What have Liverpool gone and done? They bought a goalkeeper in the summer for next season. That's a succession plan. That's them going, we don't expect Alisson will sign a new contract. Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll buy a goalkeeper, say that we'll sign him the year later. So that means that we will now have, if Alisson stays, we'll have 3 very competent goalkeepers. Now they can make a decision. Do we sell Kelleher? Do we sell Alisson? Who will be our 1 and 2 goalkeeper now? Spurs did this when we had Hugo Lloris. This happened under Hugo Lloris, where we kept extending his contract and we didn't have a succession plan. And that's where it's culminated now. Think about it. When we had Lloris, who did we have? Galini. Yeah. I mean, how many of them were there? There was loads of them. We had
at one point.
Paul Lopez, he came in at one point. We had loads of sort of makeshift goalkeepers, not makeshift, but like hit and miss that came in on a Joe Hart, great example. Then it came Fraser Forster. For me, we kind of got to live in this bed and get on with it. It's what I've said to people. Look, we just got to get on with it.
Yeah.
We allowed this to happen, and it's people that are just living for that moment at the moment, and it's not against them. Fair play is what they want. They can do and say what they want. Exactly what I've been saying this whole stream. But for me, we kind of got to go through a little bit of this pain for us to realize, hang on, we can't do this again. We've been very, very lucky with Vicario. I agree with you. There's some games I've gone, he's amazing. Some I go, oh, he's been awful today. But we've been very lucky that he's played every game he's been in the club.
Yeah.
That he's been available for every game at the football club. Yeah, we may have played Forster in cup games or Europe and all that lot. You get the gist. But he has never been injured. This is the first time he's now been injured at the club. And he's now out for what looks like 3 months.
Yeah.
And 3 months takes us into February. So that is a portion of the season chunk of him without him. For me, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I think we just got to get on with it, right?
Yeah, there's nothing else we can do. And like, as you say, it's that poor planning that's kind of put us in this position. Imagine Eric the Viking. What a debut, if anyone remembers, dropping the ball in the back of the net against Forest. What a debut. But yeah, we're in this position through lack of planning. And ultimately, it's kind of the Tottenham way, isn't it? We just keep players around when, when you think about it, what has been the point of having Whiteman and Austin around as long as we've had them around? Because if we're never going to play these guys, move them on. bring in the next generation of goalkeeper. Like, as you say,
Right.
you know you've got to have two. And I understand, as Arsenal found out, you can't have necessarily two goalkeepers who think they want to be number one, because neither's going to sit around playing second fiddle, just getting some cup games. But you need to have that player, like, as you said, here's my number one, but here's my future. He's not as good currently here, but over time he's going to then he's going to overtake. And the last time we did that, I think, was when we had Friedel and we brought Lloris in at that
point.
Which was, we know we've got Friedel, but he's aging and he's not at his best anymore. This guy is going to come in, understudy, and then overtake him.
Yeah.
And like you say, a good side does that. And unfortunately, Spurs just don't plan that way. And as you say, this could come back to bite them now, couldn't it? Because as you say, that time out, we're going to be missing some really key games during that period. And one that could see us out the League Cup because of a goalkeeper not performing well. Europa League ambitions knocked massively. So, yeah, we've got to hope Foster comes in, if it is Foster, and he does the job.
I think it will be. A lot of the talk that's coming out of the club is that it will be Fraser Forster. I expect it to be. Let's be fair. If it was going to be any of the others, they would have played in Europe. They would have played in the Carabao Cup. It wouldn't have been Fraser Forster, right? I think. If I think it's really understandably that it will be him. But it worries me, because I think I also made the point about the goalkeeper situation, because we've got 4 goalkeepers registered. You wouldn't have guessed it, because it feels like we only have 1 good goalkeeper and 3 that are a bit. And no disrespect to Austin and Whiteman, but I think they've got probably the best job in the world, by the way.
Oh, imagine their job.
Their job. And by the way, they are no disrespect to them, by the way. This isn't at all any level of disrespect to those 2 guys, but they have benefited from Spurs' negligence when it comes to club trained players, and the fact that we haven't produced any good players in the last 5 to 6 years. Right, the last 5 to 6 years, we haven't gone and brought through players. Look at the other clubs that are bringing through players. They can then register them when they're over the age of 21.
Yeah.
Apart from those 2, who else have we got?
Yeah.
Who else?
It's mad.
But look at the squad we've got. Who else has come through our academy that we can register apart from them 2?
Yeah.
No one.
It's sad, isn't it?
That's not sad. Because bear in mind, we sold Harry Winks. We sold Oliver Skip. There's a few that are coming through slowly. What I will say, though, and not to be negative, and I'll flip it to be positive for this 1 second. In the next 5 years, though, touch wood, very hard, we have got some coming through. There are the likes of the Mikey Moores coming through. Hopefully he can stick around, because that kid looks a talent, right?
Yeah.
You've got younger players now that are looking good. That is why, and this is why, when everyone was talking about us buying young players and we were buying these sort of 16, 17, 18-year-olds, it's because of this reason, right? If you can buy 16-year-olds, they have to only be trained at the club for 3 years, and then they're considered club trained. So what you have got there is, by having players that you sign at the age of 16 and 7, Voskovic is going to be an example of coming through as one of them. He will be one of those that will be considered club trained. And then once you start getting those ones through, you can then go, okay, we can start being much more flamboyant, because that's why, in the summer when I was talking about who we signed, I said I wouldn't be shocked if Carl Walker-Peters comes back. Marcus Edwards comes back. Madueke doesn't count. He wasn't club trained by Spurs because he left too early and went to PSV. He's actually club trained by PSV. I said it wouldn't shock me if players like that come through, because the problem we have is we don't have the succession plan. And that's why the likes of Austin and Whiteman are still at the club. Why Fraser Forster? Yeah, he's not club trained, but he's homegrown. Again, homegrown issue we've had at the club, which again, we're slowly breaking away. We brought in the likes of Archie Gray. Whatever you think about him, he was brought in because when he becomes 21, he will be considered homegrown. So this is where it all comes down for me. It was poor management half a decade ago to now, where we've allowed this to happen. What we did is, it's why the likes of Winks, Skip, all these lads, Cameron Carter-Vickers, was staying at the football club for so long. God, that was a throwback name, isn't it?
Oh, it was. Pick that one out there, mate.
I mean, he was the centre half every year. I'll stop waffling for a second, but he was the centre half every pre-season when this is his year. This is his year. And then he never played a game of football, did he?
That's right. Yeah. Like I say, you knew friendlies. Oh, your Carter Vickers in. People would go,
Yeah.
Carter Vickers is in. It's like, yeah, don't get your hopes up. He won't.
Yeah.
He won't
Everyone's
be here
going,
when the
oh, what a game in a friendly against someone in a. It was. Do you know what it was? It was a friendly against Juventus. Do you remember when Kane scored from the halfway line? I think he played in America. He played that game. Went, what a game! He's the one that starts for us.
Yeah.
Never played a game of football.
Never to put on a
brilliant. It was hilarious. But that's where we need to get away from the homegrown. We want our homegrown players in our 11, in our squad that are playing consistently, because that's how it works, right? That's how we get. Arsenal are getting to that stage where they're doing it now. The likes of Saka, they've got that young kid in Wary coming through. Arsenal are starting to do it when it comes to homegrown players.
Yeah, it's what elite clubs do, isn't it, Perchy? Elite clubs have that in the background, all the cogs are turning all the time, not just a here and now. What's coming after that? What's coming after?
Great. Look at Real Madrid, Dani Ceballos. Whatever you think about Dani Ceballos, he's there all the time, because do you know what? Puts in a shift, but he's club trained he come through their academy. And Real Madrid is a million miles away from Tottenham, and it shouldn't be the barometer in a sense, but they're very good to getting rid of them. What Real Madrid are very good at is, once they are club trained, they're happy to let them go, and then if they are good enough when they've let go, they'll buy them back.
Yeah,
they'll go, we'll get you trained at the club, so if we need you in the future, we'll let you go to Villarreal, Valencia, or whatever, and then you'll come back to us when we need you.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not suggesting that Spurs are going to ever be like that, because we will never. I don't think we'll ever be, in my lifetime, ever be a Real Madrid. I'd love us to be. I'd love us to win absolutely everything, and when it all goes wrong, the white hankies come out. But that's just such a Spurs thing it would be, wouldn't it? We'd have branded ones as well. The club would do anything. They'd start selling them in the
seats, wouldn't he?
Start selling them in the club shop, wouldn't they? Yeah, exactly. It'll be more than a quid. It'll be a tenner probably. Look, we've been going for half an hour. Let's slowly walk. We passed the Vicario debate. Let's talk Roma now. We've got Roma tomorrow. I'm actually, do you know what? I'm really excited for this game, because I'd like to see where we are. We have to bounce back. We lost to Galatasaray last time in the Europa League. I think we will qualify comfortably in this group, in this league format. Before we do slightly talk about it, I want to ask you a question, because I haven't really asked a lot of people this question. What is your thoughts on the new format of the Europa League, Champions League, whatever you want to call it now, because they're all different? What is your opinion of the new format? Do you like it, or you prefer the old format?
Do you know what? Because obviously, considering myself a legacy fan, I used to love the old format, you know.
Yeah.
I go back even as far as when it was just straight two-legged knockout ties, group stage stuff and everything like that. But we know we've moved forward. Football's moved on. The money's there. They want the money. I'm still not a fan of this bigger league format. I don't necessarily like it as much as when you was in a group and you would play, say, each other twice, home and away, and then the top two go through. For me, I thought that was great. Then into the knockouts. This big, massive league format, it's not for me. And ultimately, I think what it's done is it's been designed to make sure that the better sides constantly make it into the latter stages of these competitions, and those necessarily, say, slightly weaker sides drop by the wayside, because yes, in the, say, maybe 2 or 3 games, you can get results you might need to get yourself through. But to try and do that over a run of 6 or 7, 8 games is not so easy to do. So I think UEFA are very clever. They want more of the top sides getting through, and this is what they've done to do that.
Well, you've made a relatively good point, but what I will say, I'll slightly negate the fact on one thing that hasn't happened. I get your point about they want the bigger teams in there, but it hasn't really panned out like that. And the reason why I say that,
some big sides outside that top 8, aren't there, at the moment, when you look at our league? But then when you look at that league at the moment, it's 1 or 2 points away from possibly all changing all over the place. And it's why, I'm sure we'll get into in a minute, I think this game on Thursday is massive for Spurs, that we make sure we get a win over the line. Because, say, that league table, when you look at it, all those teams are just within 2 or 3 points of putting themselves in that top 8 and knocking those that are in there down below that at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think I initially, the first when they announced it, I went, hate it, don't like it. You know me, everyone in the chat knows me. I play a lot of Football Manager. And in Football Manager, they've already updated it, haven't they?
Yeah.
When you play it.
Yeah.
And the one thing I learned from it very, very quickly was what it has stopped dead rubbers. That last game when you've already won the group and the team below you is already finishing bottom, there's nothing to play for, and it becomes a pointless game of football. Now, very rarely can it be like that now.
Yeah.
Very rarely can it be like that now, because there will always be games that are relevant. So points will be shared, needed for whatever to finish in the top 8, the middle 16, and then the people at the bottom. There's an opportunity to sneak in there now. And I think that is, it gives options, it gives opportunities. Nick's right here. And that it stops teams basically cruising, playing the easy teams. Because in theory, right, in the old system, if you won
win 2, you was almost through.
Win 3 of them, and you're basically done. Right now, playing 8, I worked out you have to get 16 points to basically qualify for the round of 32. Or is it the round? No, the round of 6. No, the round of 32. No, round of 16. So round of 16. Round of 16. That qualifies you for the round of 16. You have to get 16 points. Now, that's fine. 16 points out of 8 games is quick maths. Was that 4 wins? No, 6 wins, right? 6 out of 8
wins. Yeah, if you won 6 out of your 8, I think you pretty much guarantee you're in that top 8.
You're guaranteed. It works out. If you get 16, it all but guarantees you, unless a real statistical anomaly happens, basically. Then it might be 17 or 18, whatever. But you have to statistical anomaly to get into that. For me, what it does is it offers more jeopardy. And I think that's important. But what it does is it stops teams like, and the reason why I'll bring this up now quickly. We're going to, guys in the chat, we're going to go for another 10 or so minutes. I will have to shoot in a bit, but make sure you guys are smashing the like. Let me just pull this up. The reason why I wanted to show you the league table. And I want us to I want to just analyze it quickly, because this is the Champions League, not the Europa League. No, this is the Europa League. I do apologize. Get my things right. So just sharing that. So if you can see the table now, everyone can see that, right? Obviously, Lazio are top of it. Obviously, no one's played their 5th game yet. But you look at these teams, like, these are the teams that are going to get knocked out. Real Sociedad, big team, struggling right now. You look at Roma down there struggling, who we're playing next, obviously. But you look at some of these here, and you go, I probably expect it. Stoya, by the way, they're doing well. So, old school, if you remember them, they won the European Cup and stuff back in the day. But you've got the likes of Bodo Glimt. Man United has gotten away with it by not losing. And Man United not losing games, by the way, in this tournament, may just salvage their thing. They could get another 12 points out of the 4 games they've got if they win all 4, and they'll qualify. So by not losing games, you might salvage it.
Yeah.
But you look at teams, and I think that for me is important. It's going to be really interesting. And what you will get at the end of it, I'll stop sharing that now, but what you will get by the end of this tournament is the last game. That last game could be so important. It will be, do you know what it will be? Do you know what I was putting it to? That last game, the 8th game when we play on the Thursday, what it's going to be like is the final day of the season when you don't know who's going to get relegated. Everyone's going to be just have the table up. It's going to be up and down. Oh my God, Fenerbahce have scored. They're going to qualify, but that team aren't going to because of it. And it's going to be like that all the time. So look, on that part, I think it's going to be good. What it will do, because everyone said, oh, it's more games. Well, it's only more games if you don't finish in the top 8. Right?
Yeah, right.
If you finish in the top 8, you miss out the round of 32. Yeah. You go straight to the round of 16. So you go straight to the round of 16. But if you don't, you then do have to play another 2 games. You have to play a qualifier to get to that round, which you could call it the round of 32. It's not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But can Spurs win the Europa League? First question. Before we talk about Roma, can Spurs win the Europa League?
Well, obviously, you know, if we want to be positive, you'd have to say that any of those teams can win it, and why can't Spurs win it? You know, if we were to play like we did against Man City at the weekend, you wouldn't fear playing anybody, would you? In no matter what format. The biggest problem is it's our consistency, and I think the fear is, can we be consistent enough where, let's say we was to get Lazio in the round of 16. Can we go away to Lazio and make sure that we don't get beat in a way that rules the second leg as a null and void match? And that, I think, is the real problem. I don't know, and we need to find out whether we can be consistent enough where we could go away from home, get a tough point or a draw away from home where we, you know, scrappy. Even if you lose 2-1, you're still in the tie, and then come back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and look to overturn that. That's my worry. And that goes even for the group stage.
Yeah.
We've got Rangers coming up soon, and that's going to be an intense atmosphere. And as we know, can Spurs create and grind out results when things are not all their way and there's possibly a tense atmosphere? We've changed the team around a little bit, so it's not a consistent 11. We're bringing in some of the fringe players. That's my worry. We could win it. I don't think we can, because I don't think the consistency will be there.
I think you got a good point, and big up Sheriff saying, aren't we the favourites? Look, I think if you look at it on the bookies, but for me, if you're going to use the bookies as the barometer, that's always very biased to the UK, the British team. Normally, the English teams in this. Are we the favourites in the UK? Maybe. I don't think there's a lot of all the sort of other bigger nations are looking at us going, Spurs are the favourites. Look, you hit the nail on the head. Consistency. That's the key word for me. Yeah. Really key word. Can Spurs win the Europa League? Of course we can. Of course we can. Will Spurs win the Europa League? That's the question, right? Will they? For me, you're right. I think, are we able to go away to the likes of a Lazio? Are we able to go away to Man United in a semi-final on a two-legged thing? And look, we went to there this season and beat them under different circumstances.
Yeah.
You've got the likes of Athletic Bilbao, Ajax at the moment are flying in there.
Yeah.
Are we able to go to these teams? Frankfurt are a very good side. Look, Spurs are going to be one of those teams, there or thereabouts. I expect us to get to around about the quarterfinals. Yeah, then the question is have Spurs got what it takes?
Yeah.
Do you know what? This will be the funny thing about all this. It wouldn't shock me Spurs winning it this year. It kind of wouldn't shock me, because I think the way that we play, you kind of got an opportunity. But the problem is it goes both ways, right? Yeah. It's like a flip. Tottenham are very much a flip of the coin.
Yeah.
Really a flip of the coin. Can we win it? Yeah. But we can also get battered on our day if we want to. Yeah. So
it would depend as well. At what point does Ange maybe go, I'm now going to start playing the first 11 in this competition? Because if we're in with a fight at the top four, we're in with a fight of a League Cup, possibly FA Cup, you're going to have to suddenly start being careful with how many games players get. And at that point, you've got a decision to make of, do I bring in the first 11? If we get a Lazio in the knockout stage, right, I can't play people like Archie Gray at fullback because he's going to get destroyed here. So that's going to come into it as well, around how seriously we start taking the competition at some point.
Yeah, no, true. I just want to bring up one point, by the way, and move on. Big up Rodney, by the way, absolute top bloke. You're in the chat. For me, this is the problem, right? I'm not blaming you, by the way. This isn't a blame on you at all. The problem is we've now normalized abuse in society. And the thing is no one really speaks out about it. And I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you are advocating for it. We need to be at a stage. That was what the sort of first part of the stream was. We need to be at a stage where we're not advocating it. We should be calling this behavior out, right? I just wanted to touch on that and move on. But big up Lord Rodney, by the way. Absolute top bloke in the FM stream. We're back at 3 o'clock, and I need your tactical analysis back in there. So, look, can Spurs win it? Look, I'll be booking my flights to Bilbao in May if we're in the final. because by the way, I do want to go to their stadium anyway. So to watch Spurs in that stadium, St. Mam's Stadium is beautiful. I butchered the name. St. Mam's Stadium is San Mam's, sorry, but it's a lovely, lovely stadium, and I'd love just to go there and win a trophy there. But I think the same goes with Man United. We've got Man United in the Carabao Cup coming soon. Yeah. And yeah, I'm excited to see how it will materialize, right? I think that'll be really.
I think it'd be key now to see how the season goes after that Man City performance, because the thing is now there's a standard that's been set, isn't there? And there's the expectation levels. We were right down the bottom. That performance has brought everyone up again, going, well, hang on a minute. The ceiling could be high for this team. It's now this Fulham game, I think, is because I think we'll make changes against Roma. That Fulham game is going to be so key to where the season goes, because can Ange get that performance against a side that will come and sit back a little bit?
I'll say this now. I think we beat Roma. Roma at the moment are in a bit of a disarray. They're all over the shop. They've just brought in Claudio Ranieri as manager. They're all over the shop, Roma. I expect us to beat Roma. I'll put that out there. That clip it. I expect us to beat Roma. You're right. Fulham for me is where the real benchmark is, because as I always say, where there is a Man City win, there's an Ipswich loss.
Yeah.
For us, they go back to the key word, consistency.
Yeah.
Can we consistently get results? I think what the manner of the victory against Fulham, it does. I don't care how we play against them. I want us to just beat Fulham no matter what, because that starts the trend. Beat Roma. Look, what a week Spurs fans could have. Beat Man City, beat Roma, beat Fulham. Then you're going, okay, now who we got next?
Yeah.
Bournemouth away. Go to Bournemouth away and get a result.
Yeah.
Then
even grind out a draw in that game. It's like just go there, grind out the draw, get yourself back out of there. But that is what we've seen we can't do right now. And if that's it, right? Change, then there'll be a little bit more optimism, I think.
And I think that's the key bit, right? I think you're spot on with it. You're spot on with that. It's for me now, this Christmas period without the goalkeeper. Look, do you know when everyone's in meltdown? Oh my God, season's over. Vicario's injured. You're right. People were moaning about Vicario about a month ago, saying he's not good enough. It's incredible being in the Spurs community. It's incredible because it goes like. It feels like months and years, or like days. It feels like
we're one incident away from a crisis, and we're one incident away from quadruple.
We're one result from winning the quadruple. Yeah, we're one result from a quadruple, and we're one result from the manager getting sacked, and the whole thing's a mess. And we've got to rip the club up open. It's hilarious.
Rip it up.
Football is incredible like that. I genuinely, it's so funny. But I think we beat Roma. I think. What we need is, I think the manager's got to protect Forster in the sense of, I think he has to play him. If he doesn't play him, for me, that is him out of the club. If you don't play Fraser Forster against Roma, that's him done. Whatever we will think about him as a goalkeeper, he has to play him, right? Whatever we think about him.
With his experience,
But also, what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we don't expose him.
Yeah.
And I mean that defensively. We can't allow him to be exposed. And I think that will be, and I think that'll be the key bit. Do you think we'll beat Roma tomorrow?
I think we beat Roma. Yeah, I think we do. It's not going to be pretty, and it will be one of, we might concede first, but I think we're looking at possibly a 2-1, 3-1, something like that. But I think we get it over the line and increase those chances of finishing in that top 8.
God, I've just read something which has been Tottenham intend to extend Ben Davies's contract. What if Spurs was a tweet? That was it, is it? That is the Spursiest tweet you'll ever see. Nothing on Ben Davies, but surely
he'll be picking his pension up at the club.
Sure,
know it.
And by the way, no discredit on Ben Davies, by the way. The other day, he was outstanding, by the way, against Man City. He was outstanding. But there's crediting a player for one game and going, do you know, we extend him for another year. And do you know what? It goes back to what we said at the beginning, right? When we were talking about Vicario. Where's the succession plan?
Yeah.
We should be looking, going, do you know what? When his contract's up, we give him a massive thank you. We go, do you know what, Ben, thank you so much for your service at your football club. Give him a plaque, give him whatever you want to say, look, thank you. Whether or not we think he's the best defender in the world, he's been a very good servant at this football club.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't be still here. We should be going, do you know what?
We're bringing another top club, would he, Perchy? No. Any other top club wouldn't have had Ben Davies around the amount of time he's been at Spurs.
You could see Ben Davies going to a Southampton, going to a Bournemouth, a team mid-table to the bottom half going, we need a solid left back or a solid left-sided centre-back. He shouldn't be at Tottenham now. Nothing against him. But as I said, we should be at a position we go, credit where credit is due. You've done amazing for this football club, helped us in patches where we need you.
Yeah.
Not been the greatest player in the world, but he's been a resilient. And what I do hear, he's a very good influence in the back of the behind the scenes. I heard he's a very, very smart, intelligent bloke. Actually,
he is. Yeah,
I heard he reads a lot. Like everyone says, oh, everyone else is playing cards on the everyone else is playing. We want cars or something. He's reading books at the back of the bus, supposedly. I heard someone say that, oh, we'll play Uno. Ben's reading some novel about something like that. And so
Shakespeare.
but supposedly, honestly, he's a very, very...
He's a model pro, isn't he?
He's a very model pro.
He's the sort of pro I think every manager wants at the club.
Exactly.
Because of the influence he gives. But like I say, elite clubs at a certain point just have to say, listen, thank you.
Yeah.
Did the job. We're moving on to bigger and better things.
We've got the succession plan, right? And that, I think we can probably knock that. I think we've smashed it out. Apologies for the mix up at the beginning of the stream, guys. Carl, thanks for coming on, man. I've really enjoyed that. It's a really cool chat.
Perchy, it's been an absolute honor, mate. And like I say, been watching your stuff for a long while. So just everyone, make sure you subscribe, like, get Perchy back to where he was at one point. And yeah, it's been an honor.
We were at one point, we got to 2.5. We're about 100 away or so from 2.5.
We'll get there, no
problem. Yeah. So if we can, but please, guys, in the chat, if you haven't, go and subscribe to Carl. Really good content. Bringing out starting on the new podcast route. Keep it up, man. Look, it's a tough grind. People don't realize it. I think you've done podcasting before and stuff. You're starting again, haven't you? And you know the grind is hard. Like it
is a grind.
Because I think what a lot of people do, what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of effort and work you have to do with all this. They think, it's all the work in the background, getting people to come on, doing thumbnails and all that lot. Yeah. I mean, and I feel like I'm doing everyone's thumbnails sometimes. It's all
you are, mate. It's too good at it.
It's all love, man. It was funny. Like, big up Nige. I think Nige is in the chat as well. Nige goes, oh, Cole said to me you did your intro. Can you do one for me? I was like, yeah, go on, Em. I don't mind it. Absolutely no trouble. I have no issues. I don't mind doing them. I wish I was better, but I'm not great. I just like playing around
with it. Mate. You're top quality. Don't knock yourself.
But guys, can you all go over? I'm going to redirect over to Kate's show if they're still live. Please go over there. They're doing a really good show. So go over there and show some support. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for the FM stream. Get over there. We'll have a laugh, guys. I will see you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.